Hello there, guys. I feel it is time for a bit of a channel update, and we're going to kind of go in order of occurrence here. So I've only got really 4 things I want to talk about today, and the first is something called, right now the working title is the Tech Bus, but I forgot to upload a video to my channel because I kind of got really busy, then really sick last week when this all occurred. And basically, the Tech Bus is a podcast that myself, YouTube user Tech Fluidity, Bruno98 Productions, and Dello304 are doing. And it's basically a podcast where we just kind of, shoot the shit and talk about current topics at hand. But it's something I wanted to put out there, and there'll be links in the description to the main channel where we're going to be hosting it. But if that sounds like something you'd like to watch, or I guess listen to in this case, feel free to check us on out. The second episode should be going up shortly, but it wasn't my best because we still recorded while I was pretty sick. So, so yeah, that's that. Not much to say about it. It's a podcast we're doing. Feel free to check it out if you like. Don't if you don't. The other thing that unfortunately kind of happened, this is an unfortunate incident here, is the iPod that I got. It's been reduced to a parts pile because something quite unfortunate happened to the logic board. So I noticed one day it stopped booting up. It went to sleep. You know, your iPod, if you remember back to when iPods were, the cool thing to have, you would leave it off and it would lull off to sleep by itself, and it would eventually just shut itself off. Well, I thought that's what happened because I hadn't used it in a couple days. So I woke it up, and nothing was happening, so I thought the battery was dead. So I plugged it in, it came right up, but it was acting like the battery was completely shot. Forgive my yawns, I promise I'm interested in this subject. Anyway, so I thought something may have happened to the battery, so I pried the back off. And I was careful because, I used to work on these things for a living back in high school, and it's not like I forgot all the pitfalls of these things. And I carefully undid the battery connector with my pair of iFixit tweezers that are meant for the task. I was very careful about it, pulled everything apart, put it back together, couldn't get it to boot. So I kind of just was like, what the hell's going on here? So after the second time of trying to redo the battery connector, because I thought that's, if the battery wasn't connecting properly, or the battery was actually dead, the battery connector pops right off the logic board. It just snapped right off. And it looked like I could put it back on, like I could realign it and put it back on because the pins were still exposed. But alas, that wasn't enough, and I think I'm just going to have to buy a new logic board. Problem is, new logic boards for this particular model of iPod are still like $70 on eBay, and I personally do not feel like paying that much to revive this iPod. It once, at least. Even though I was going to pay, I don't know how much, to probably put a flash adapter in it, but that's kind of more of a nice thing to do. This is something I have to do to revive it. Everything else was, kind of like a thing I wanted to do out of, just to have a nice little iPod to call my own. Buying a logic board, it's like if I'm going to buy a logic board, I might as well just buy another iPod Classic, or I might as well just buy another iPod with a broken hard drive. The problem is I have to find a 60 gig model because of reasons I'm not going to get into here. If you want to look into it, it has to do with RAM limitations and storage address limitations. But if you want to look into that, Google is your friend. I don't want to explain too much of it in this little video. But yeah, unfortunately the iPod is toast for right now. And I guess nothing of value was lost too much, because most of my music actually is on Spotify, So I'd have to go find local versions of it to throw onto my iPod to work. So, back to using the iPhone, I guess. Now, the next item on the list is something everybody will know I've been itching to do for quite some time. And finally, I mean, I didn't have the money for this. I really shouldn't have went out and just bought it, but you know what? At the same time, you got to put a price on convenience. And in this case, I was getting tired of things just constantly sucking with regards to this. So I went on Amazon and I bought this. Now this is actually the slightly lesser model than Ryan has, the C01U Pro. And all it's missing is the headphone monitor port, which I really don't care about. I can't really stand listening to myself anyway. So pretty much this was a convenience purchase because my Blue Snowball, albeit kind of not wanting to work all the time, still did work if I just smacked it the right way. In fact, I still have it right here. And this thing is probably going to get run over at some point because that's the only way I feel like I'm going to make my $40 worth it. Because it doesn't work with any system I've tried, at least reliably. This thing, however, has worked every single time. I've had it for a little under a week. Actually, it will be a week tomorrow. And it's worked every single time. No fail whatsoever. Funny enough, I found that Samsung actually is not very well liked on Reddit. And I was looking at an audio thread. Somebody just, like, the whole thread just hated Samsung. And I don't care if it works. I don't care who made the damn thing. And this thing works great for what it is. I mean, it cost me $10 more than the Snowball costs. Actually, no, it cost me $4 more. And you know what? This thing works flawlessly every single time. I have not had a single issue with it. The only issue I had with this thing as a whole is the shipping. The shipping took like 2 weeks. Because I ordered it, like, it didn't take 2 weeks. It took, like, way longer than it needed to. Because I bought it on, like, the 1st. And it took until Amazon said it was going to be here on the 17th. It actually got here on the 11th, which was still... Like, why haven't people heard of USPS yet? Like, holy crap. They sent it via UPS, too. Well, UPS Smart Post, so USPS ended up delivering the damn thing anyway. It's like, why the hell didn't they just send it via USPS? And, like, it's cheaper, and it gets here faster. But I digress. Now the big thing. The thing that if you come here from Ryan's channel, you'll already know this happened. But pretty much, this happened. And, yeah, it's the same MacBook Pro that I had a few months ago when we traded. It's the very same one. Because after we traded back, I asked him if by the time he decides to ditch this machine, he doesn't have a newer machine, if he'd like to trade. And he said, yeah. So, I ended up with this. And basically, what happened with him is he ended up getting a 2015 MacBook Pro to kind of not have to worry about certain things like memory. Actually, I think that's about it, because it's still the same thing. Haswell processors, slightly faster, I might add. Just double the memory. That's really all it has going for it, and the various other little touches like the Force Touch trackpad and such like that. So I got this in trade for my mid-2012, which was a decent machine, but I feel like that thing was also long in the tooth. Because, for whatever reason, it could not handle my workload as well as I thought it could. It was great for casual use. Like, it did that no problem. And that was one of my main problems with the 2010 that I had. And the reason why I wanted out of that machine so quickly is because it couldn't handle the casual things I wanted to do. It couldn't handle YouTube. It couldn't handle Twitch.tv. It couldn't handle, like, just basic stuff that I wanted to do. It would just struggle all the time. Whereas the 2012 non-Retina did it all very well. Where it fell apart was Final Cut Pro. It took forever to render even the most basic video. I mean, I love that machine to death, but it just, the most basic, like, advanced things, I guess I should say, just, it felt like it was taking its time, even though it wasn't that far behind this one in Geekbench. And the NVIDIA 650M, I feel like that's when they really started slipping on the in the GPU department, because that machine could not handle games very well at all. I don't know why. Like, if I played something age-appropriate like Borderlands, it wouldn't handle it very well. My late 2008 MacBook Pro that I had at the time, the original Borderlands actually released, handled it no problem at all. So this machine, weirdly enough, I played Overwatch on this machine and on the 2012, and this machine actually ran it slightly better, believe it or not. So the NVIDIA 650M is not a good chip. I don't feel it's a very good chip. And the funny part is the NVIDIA GPU before it, actually far before it, because I'm not counting the 2011 here, the 330, was it the 330M in the 2010 15-inch? But it was beyond slow. I couldn't even play Borderlands on that. Like, really, it wouldn't even run. That's how bad it was. So I don't know what's been up with NVIDIA's mobile GPUs, at least the ones Apple is using, but they are garbage. And it makes me think back to the days when I had my late 2006 MacBook Pro, and that thing just chewed through games. Like, I was able to play Half-Life 2 Episode 1 on it, no problem whatsoever, with the effects turned up, I might add. And that machine just handled everything I threw at it. But nowadays, it seems like Apple's machines are kind of like, eh. That said, like, I know my friend Everblack's MacBook Pro can play GTA 5 if tweaked enough, but still, it just, I don't know who to blame on that one. But instead of just showing off the box, let's show off the machine itself. Unfortunately, Ryan did remove the nice D-brand skin that was on here because he's going to try and transfer it to his new MacBook Pro, but unfortunately it kind of got messed up. But that means it's ripe for the customizing. Unfortunately, that means all my stickers are gone again. I'm probably not even going to bother this time, because every time I find some really good stickers to put on this, I end up, like, something happens in the machine and it gets traded or something, so I'm just tired of that happening. It wasn't for my friends constantly upgrading machines and giving me good deals on their new or on their old machines that actually aren't that bad, I probably wouldn't be in that situation. Anyway, that's pretty much, well, actually, I forgot about the fourth thing, because I know eagle-eyed readers, or, I shouldn't say eagle-eyed readers, watchers, readers, listeners, whatever, are going to notice that I only talked about, was that really 4 things, or was that 3? I lost count myself. Another not really convenience purchase is it became something that kind of had to happen sooner rather than later. So, this is the thing that happened kind of unexpectedly, but it happened mostly thanks to Ryan. Actually, very much thanks to Ryan. This guy. Now, you might be thinking, why another motherboard? Because I originally had a Gigabyte G97 MX Gaming 5, and that motherboard was beyond garbage. I kind of had a feeling from the get-go, but I mean, it would keep failing. Like, the BIOS would keep corrupting itself. And it would take so long for it to finally engage dual BIOS, which is Gigabyte's fail-safe in this case, where they have 2 BIOS chips, one of which is never usually touched, and the other one, which is the one you make all your changes to, and if the one you make your changes to gets corrupted, then it'll write from the read-only BIOS and restore it to a known good condition. I'm guessing that's how it works. Feel free to correct me if it isn't, but basically it's double BIOS chips, one for fail-safe, one for, diddling around in. And it would take forever for it to kick in dual BIOS mode and actually offer to write back the uncorrupted BIOS, because I would reset the BIOS and it wouldn't work. It would be corrupted. It would sit in a black screen and do nothing. And that's why I ended up getting rid of it. Well, I want to get rid of the board, It's actually right here. If you want to have a look at it real quick. But this is the board that gave me trouble. And it, actually, I can actually show you the dual BIOS system. Because you can see it right there. You can actually see it right there. These are two BIOS chips right there. But pretty much, I can get back in the thing. Now, what would happen? Why? Now you're thinking, so how'd you corrupt the BIOS? Like, what made that happen? Nothing, actually. I would just boot the system up one day and it would boot to a black screen. It would not do anything. Sometimes it would just shut back off. And it would keep doing that and doing that. And I know it wasn't my CPU, because I know Intel is shitty as I think they are these days. And I'm not saying shitty because the performance is shitty, because they kind of sit on their asses. I mean, look at Kaby Lake. But I know they wouldn't design a processor that shitty. And I know I didn't do any overclocking, so I don't think that would be the problem. I would just do this ritual of unplugging a bunch of hardware, resetting the BIOS, plugging the hardware back in slowly, turning it on to see if it works. And normally that would be enough to get it to kick into dual BIOS mode and be like, hey, something's wrong. And then I could put all my hardware back in and be good for another month. So it did this again, and at that point I was just like, you know, I really don't want to mess with this again. And Ryan wanted me on Discord, and I was just like, I don't feel like fighting the desktop right now. So he's just like, you know what, let's go get you a new motherboard. Just pay me back whenever you can. So this is what happened. Pretty much, the Gigabyte has been retired. I actually do have an open RMA for that, because I've had other issues with that board. Like, really slow SATA performance is one of the major ones. Pretty much, this board happened because, basically, just, I was tired of fighting, like I said, I was tired of fighting it. Ryan was just like, nah, no, I'm not going to let you continue to suffer with that crap board. Therefore, you know what? We're going to get you something nice. I originally wanted the Z97 Deluxe, which was $99, but No Fries in the area had it in stock, so we ended up having to go with the Z97A USB 3.1, because it was the only Z97 board that they had by Asus. Everything else was Gigabyte, and I'm not about to give them more money. But I do have an open RMA for the Gaming 5. I don't know if I'm ever going to do it, because they want me to ship it to them at my own expense. And to ship this, even that, is going to need a large flat rate box, which is like $20. And right now I'm at a point in my life where $20 is a lot of money. So I don't know if I want to do that. But we will see. The only thing I absolutely miss from this board, the I/O shield is really nice. It's nice and padded. Whereas on the Asus board, it's just a thin metal plate with those metal fingers. It's really annoying to deal with. But pretty much that's it for this. Really all the announcements that I have to make. I don't know if I'm ever going to use the 3.1 features on this board. Probably not, because I'm never going to have any USB 3.1 devices. Did notice it say Thunderbolt ready, though. That's kind of cool. Might have to take advantage of that. But anyway, until next time, I will see you guys later.